Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Coach's Corner, the only Falcons fan podcast where emotional damage is a weekly feature. Atlanta somehow found another way to collapse in overtime. I have my co host, Coach, here. Tonight, unfortunately, we do have some sad news. Our friend Keely will no longer be a part of our show due to personal reasons. We wish Keely the best, and he'll be greatly missed. He was a big part of our show for sure.
For
Hopefully,
sure.
he'll join us, as a guest sometime soon, or come kick it with us. But speaking of guests, we do have a special guest tonight. Welcome, Berto, everybody.
What's up?
Thank you,
What's
thank
up?
you. What's happening, everybody? What's going on? Glad to be part of the show, man. Appreciate the invite.
Yes, sir. Thank you
Yeah,
for
glad
coming,
to have
sir.
you. Yeah, glad to have you. So before we get into it, we do gotta hit you with our signature questions. Every first time guest gets them. Our first question is, how did you become a Falcons fan?
Oof, man. So I've been a Falcon fan since 1999. So the year that Jamal Anderson got hurt is the year I became a fan. A lot of people say, "Oh no, you became a fan because of Vic." Like, nah, man, we got to go back a little, just a year more. A year behind, man. OJ Santiago, Jamal Anderson, those guys really brought me into the culture of Atlanta and Atlanta sports. Period. So that's when I started becoming a Falcon fan. Was in 1998.
All right, great. That's a long time.
Yeah.
um, so second question is, who's your favorite Falcons player of all time?
Oh man. So obviously there's the Julios, there's the Matt Ryans, but I'm gonna go with my guy, man, 2005's very own Roddy White out of UAB. That is the sole Falcon that just really helped me entrench my fandom into the Falcons that much more was Roddy White.
Oh, okay, okay. Just a
Yeah.
heads up. Don't mention MR2 around Miss Deb. That's a
Oh,
touchy subject for her. She is
oh
not a
man.
fan of the Iceman.
What?
Mm,
Come on,
Yeah,
man. Hey, to
I
each
don't
his
know
own.
why.
To each his
I don't
own. I
know
get it.
why,
I
but
used to call
she's
him
not a fan.
Noodle. I used to call him
Noodle?
Noodle
No.
Arm.
I mean towards the end of his career, maybe not prime Matt Ryan. He could slang that thing, man.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome.
All right, well, that's amazing. It's always great to hear, how our fellow fans became fans.
Mhm.
So, without getting too into detail, I do want to say Bryce Young looked like a top 5 quarterback out of nowhere this past game, 30-27,
Mm.
painful game.
Mhm.
How are you guys feeling about that?
Oh.
Go
I'll let the guests go first. Go ahead, Berto.
ahead.
Look, man, it's devastating. To have Bryce Young come into the Benz and just dominate, really, because there's something about Bryce Young in that Mercedes-Benz Stadium that he just enjoys and loves. Because anytime he steps foot in there is success. Other than his first rookie start a couple years back, where we did get the best of Bryce, but ever since then he's owned us, man. And it's a common thing with the Atlanta Falcons and these young quarterbacks that come in, first time into the dome, I'm sorry, I call it the dome. I can't call it the Benz. I have to say the dome for whatever reason, but the Benz,
Right.
respectfully. Yeah, yeah. I don't understand why, these quarterbacks make our defenses look the way that they do, man. Bryce put up incredible numbers on Sunday, and this was against a tough Falcons secondary that was ranked number 1 in the league in the pass defense, only allowing 170 yards per game thus far. And Bryce was able to come in and just dice us up for 440 plus yards, man. So overall, it's embarrassing because we got to hear it from these Carolina Panther fans, man. It's annoying as hell, man.
Oh, what makes it so much more annoying is at the beginning of the year, like I was very optimistic. I thought 10 wins for the Falcons was very feasible with a young team. So, but I did not think about. I thought the Panthers. I thought it was going to be the Aints, then the Panthers, then us and Tampa Bay battling for first. I definitely, this was not on my bingo card at all. Um,
Mhm.
and Bryce Young reminds me of oh man, I want to talk about. I can't think of his name. The quarterback slash receiver slash whatever the hell he was that played for New Orleans, that every time we played he just dogged us. What's his
Not
name?
Brooks.
Not
Eric Brooks.
no. Recently, he I think he just left the team recently.
Taysom Hill.
White guy.
Taysom
What's
Hill.
his name?
Taysom Hill.
Yes,
He's still
yes.
on there. He's still on the team.
Okay. Every
Yeah.
time we played, he just shreds us. Like he just
Mhm.
goes off. You know, we've never been able to stop him. And it's looking like Bryce is the same way. For me, you know, I'm not gonna dive too deep into it because we will talk about it later. But you know, this defense, oh my God, you know, whew. So this game was just it was just horrible to watch. It really was horrible to watch. It's like, I mean, you just it's can't get right. No matter what's going on, you know you all four phases of playing football is just not met week after week. Either you know they don't show up the first half, show up the second half, or don't show up the second half, show up the first half. It's just not complimentary football, and that is a direct reflection, in my opinion, of coaching. Like, period.
Mhm.
I mean, just you're looking unprepared, and I mean the penalties are starting to kill us. Before Raheem got here, we were one of the least penalized teams in the league. Now
Mhm.
we're in one of the tops. So, you know, it's starting to get ridiculous. Honestly,
Yeah.
it's really starting to get ridiculous.
Yeah, we had another late lead once again. And we blew it once again.
Mhm.
He was definitely, Bryce was cooking like, his job was on DoorDash ratings.
Damn.
Yeah,
Crazy.
um,
he was out there delivering. That's for sure. And the 28-3 memes came flooding back. And as a Falcon fan, that is the absolute worst. Like you can't say nothing
Yeah.
because it happened, but it's like it's so it infuriates me when I have to, and you can't say nothing. You know,
Yeah.
that's the messed up part.
Oh
You
hell
gotta
no!
take it.
Oh hell no, bro! I'm gonna tell you something right quick. So I live in New England. I live in Providence, Rhode
Okay,
Island. I live 40 minutes away from Gillette Stadium. So I'm a Falcon fan in this piece of shit area, so to say. And
right.
I say that because I gotta hear that shit every single day. I had to hear it the most 2 weeks ago when we played New England. I was there. I was at the game, but coming back, man. Oh, the 28-3. Oh, you guys, this. You guys, I'm like, yo, bro, man, just let that shit be, man. It's in the past. It is what it is, bro. Y'all
It's been
got one,
almost
and
10
that's
years ago.
yeah. It's like,
Almost
come
10
on, man.
years. Yeah,
I say
yeah.
I call New England Patriot fans they're second shift fans because when everything was popping in the first shift with Tom Brady and company, everybody was there. Then they went to second shift and nothing was happening. Now that things are popping, now they want to go back to first shift with Drake May. Up out of here with
Right.
that, man. They're wishy washy fans, bro.
Oh, that's so infuriating. So
It is.
infuriating.
yeah. Yeah, at this point, we don't lose games. We just perform losses, honestly. So, with
Yeah.
that being said, let's
Facts.
get into our favorite segment, the good, bad, and the ugly. Who wants to go first with their
Um,
GBU?
I'll go first. So for me, um, the good is the fact that this season is halfway over. Like I didn't see. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's becoming harder and harder for me to pick out things in a game that I see that I'm like, okay, that's good. Um, I mean, I guess I would say Kirk came in and he didn't throw an interception. That's good. You know, it's like which piece of trash am I going to pick out of all the pieces of trash? You know, it's nothing I can pick. The bad would have to be the defense as a whole. I mean, you just it's too many liabilities on the secondary. previously I've been giving them grace and say, it's because people are injured. But then once I sit back and I think about those who injured are just as trashed. I mean, Troy is not, you know, I, I don't care if Troy ever comes back. Honestly, I think we need to
Yeah.
go ahead and ship him out. That
Mhm.
that experiment is over. It failed
Mhm.
miserably. He can't stay healthy. He has to go. And then the ugly is just without a doubt, is Natron Brooks. The way that they
Mm.
told him toot that ass up is it's just ridiculous. They picked on him the entire second half, and the fact that the coach Albrecht did not take him out the game and just allowed him to keep getting abused. Like, dude, I don't care if you're not up on Kobe. I don't care if you're not up on this guy or that guy. If you're seeing Brooks getting abused this way, you got to try somebody different. Kobe
Mm.
should have been the
Yeah.
first person replaced with him, but they didn't. They just allowed him to get used and abused out there. So that's the ugly for me. Good, I
Mm.
don't know. Like I said, good is halfway over. But yeah, it was a lot bad and ugly in this week.
Gotcha. All right.
What about you, Bert?
So for me, the good. Oh man, it's tough, right? It's tough to talk about a game, to pick things that were good, bad, and ugly from a loss, right? So for the good for me though, it's the defense, the pass rush, right? We got after Bryce Young 5 times, and right now the Falcons sit second in the NFL in sacks with 34. We've bested our years total from last year, which was 31. So the Falcons pass rush is in a better space overall. You seeing the impact Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr. are having now, what it seems to be like a week to week basis. Guys like Brandon Dorlus and Zach Harrison, who didn't play, but still, you got to factor him into the defense. Rukaroro also showing signs of life. So for me, it's the pass rush overall. That's the good. The bad is the injuries, right? Obviously, the most relevant one with Michael Penix Jr. being done for the year. We also lost the Beige Bandit and Drake London for a week to week status with a PCL injury. So that's really the bad. It's the way we came out of this Carolina Panthers defeat a little too banged up. Obviously, with the season, halfway over. Sure, do those injuries mean anything? Probably not, because the season was already gone to crap as it was, right? At 3-6, now 3-7. The ugly continues to be for me this head coaching, the head coach and the coaches surrounding him. Zach Robinson, obviously, Raheem Morris. I'll give Ulbrich a break because this one by far was maybe his worst showing of the year with this defense and the way it did collapse. But Raheem Morris and his in-game situation or his in-game decision making is still piss poor to me. And Zach Robinson can't have any consistencies to his game call whatsoever. There's no flow to his game calling whatsoever. I mean, this guy says that Michael Penix can throw in the middle of the field, but elects not to do that with him at all. Still runs the pistol, and then the minute that Kirk Cousins comes in, he's under center. So clearly, you have two different metrics in the way that you coach, and it's confusing as hell because your scheme should not change whatsoever to whatever quarterback is in for you. Both guys should be treated the same exact way because this is ultimately your scheme and what you're going to put out there to show for it. But it doesn't happen. There's too much to dislike in Zach Robinson and his scheme. I'll make another point. Bijan started off the game fantastic, 16 carries, 96 yards, and 2 touchdowns. In the second half, brother, 7 carries for 8 yards. Like, come on, man, really? That's Bijan Robinson, man. That's Bijan Robinson back there toting the rock, man. But overall, man, so the good for me was the pass rush. The bad was the injuries. The ugly, the coaching aspect for this Falcons team.
Absolutely, all valid,
Yeah.
all valid.
I actually agree with a lot of that. My good, I'm gonna go with the O line, even
Mm.
though half the time, it looked like they were passing out free rush coupons. But by the O line, I mean B. John. He actually
Mm.
looked like he was running with an overdue bill.
Hmm.
Level of motivation, and of
Right.
course, I always have to have my
Oh
man.
my goodness.
My baby daddy, Drake London.
Oh Lord, of course.
Draco.
He was definitely there to save the day on multiple occasions,
He
stretching
was.
his arm out, every inch that he could to try to complete, make complete passes. The bad for me, I would say just how we let that other quarterback like look like he was a pro, and
Mm.
then like the third down defense, they just said, "Come on in, doors open, take it."
Yeah,
Mhm.
take what
uh,
you want. Yeah.
yeah, just take it.
Yeah.
And then the ugly for me was actually Penix getting injured and getting Kirk back. Like Cousins was just doing Cousins things at the last season, like fucking shit up. And to me, I just feel like any momentum that we were starting to build, it was just completely gone as soon as he got on the field. So that's my ugly. Penix, getting injured and out for the whole season. To me, I just feel like the season's over at this point,
Yeah.
which
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
actually brings us to our next topics. Penix injuries. So let's talk about it. Let's
Oof.
talk about the moment where every Falcon fan sat up straight up like they were calling, your mom was calling your full government name. He goes down, and so what does that change moving forward?
Whew. Um,
Hmm.
I think I think it changes everything. And Berto, I don't know if you were in any of the lives before the draft, but I had been saying for months, and I knew the Falcons were going to do it, but I had been saying for months, yes, we had to draft a quarterback because we were eighth, and with the intentions that Kirk was bringing was we were going to be a playoff contender, which meant that we were automatically going to be in the 20th spot drafted, 20th spot, 20 plus spot in the draft, and it was going to be it cost way too much to damn near impossible to go up in the top 10, top 5 to get the quarterback of the future. So I was all on board with getting the quarterback at 8 in that year's draft. But I was telling everybody, man, you do not go after Penix. Why? Because the man has had 2 ACL injuries, 2 shoulder injuries. Like one more ACL injury, the man might not even be able to walk, let alone play football. Like they would have to give him an artificial knee if it keeps going. You know,
Hmm.
um, so I was adamant about not getting him. And what happens? I mean, and again, everybody gets hurt in football, but once you have a history, anybody who's ever had a knee injury knows once you have that initial knee injury, it is very likely that you can have one again.
Mhm.
And it's going to be worse each and every time. So now they are saying it's not the same knee. Different reports. I'm hearing different reports from different places. Some are saying this is right. Some are saying this is left. No one really knows because they haven't released that information yet. They just said he's going to have season-ending surgery. Um,
Mm.
I mean, I could be mistaken unless they recently released which it was. But moving forward, thinking about this, moving forward, you have a quarterback who's in year 2. Okay, he already was slightly behind the curve on in learning how to be an NFL quarterback. Now you're going to take him off the field for at least he has to. One would think he may be back for the beginning of next year, um, but
Mm.
even so, you most of the off season he's going to be shut down. So there's really no learning, no progressing, no. I guess he can go to quarterback camp and walk it through, but you're severely hindering him. So now you put him, in my estimation and in my opinion, you put him in a 2-year curve. Um,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and moving forward. So with that 2 year curve, his rookie contract going to be up, and who knows what he's going to be in those 2 years. So for me now, you really have to kind of think about, very very realistically think about moving on from him, because he's going to be so far in his development. Like,
Mhm.
this is wild. Only the Falcons would go and take AARP case. I know he's not that old, but AARP case
Mhm.
at quarterback. Like, what are we doing? This was the dumbest thing. And everyone talks about the Kirk. I'm actually glad we still got Kirk, because if we didn't, and this happened, who we have? Desmond Ritter, Marcus Mariota, like it would be so
Yeah.
much worse. So for me, I think you seriously have to really think about moving on. Not saying that Penix won't be good, not saying none of that, but I think this severely hinders him and his progression into being a quarterback in the NFL. I think at least puts uh, a 2 year minus on him instead of a positive. So that for me, I mean, the rest of the season is done for sure. If I'm the Falcons, Diablo, stay your ass on the bench. Ain't no need in rushing back. Just go ahead and get completely healthy. Everybody else get completely healthy. Now it's time to start to get the young cats to burn. See who is good and who I'm gonna keep.
Uncle Steve's in the
Um,
comments saying different athletes respond different, coach. You can't assume Penix won't be back.
Mm.
True, true, Uncle Steve. True, Uncle Steve. Hold on, let me make sure I show that. You are absolutely correct. But once you have that initial injury, it is hard to come back from, as we know. Like, I know Adrian Peterson had one, but he just had one. Michael Penix is now having three. So at some point it's a little bit more than just injury. It has to be on a genetic level. Some people are just genetically disposed to getting injured. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
they just have bad genetics, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, even if he is able to play next year, I think him missing the rest of this year and then a lot of off season still hinders him. Uh, Pushes back his progression. So that's just my thoughts. What about you, Berto?
Yeah. So, to Uncle Steve's point, shout out Uncle Steve, my dear friend.
Yeah, for sure.
He knows I love him, man. So we talk, we chop it up as much as we could on a weekly or monthly basis. But to his point, different athletes respond different. That couldn't be. That's the truth. That's the honest truth. I think about it this way. Jalen Smith with the Dallas Cowboys when he played at Notre Dame suffered a horrendous knee injury. You look back in college with Frank Gore, Willis McGahee, these
Hmm.
guys, they all suffered these traumatizing knee injuries. Were all able to to bounce back and have respectful careers, and they were able to play for longer than what their positions offered at the running back. We know the shelf life isn't too long, and at quarterback for Michael Penix already going through this, I have confidence still in the kid. I'm not ready to give up on Michael Penix. The loaded part to this statement is if there is a new coaching regime or just brand new mindset in the Falcons front office, will they be tied to Michael Penix? So that's the questions that we have to start, trying to peel back the layers and try to figure out, because we don't know what the fate of Raheem is going to be. But if it's what everybody thinks it's going to be, and they're going to fire him, is the new regime going to say, okay, Penix is the guy, we're going to wait for him? And it might be that, because this year's class of quarterbacks is not as elite or nowhere near elite as it was, the year that Penix came out. You can even argue for 2 years down the line. Now, I scout and I look at, I look further ahead. It doesn't look as promising either just yet. So Penix could
Right.
ultimately be, a quarterback you can wait for. The thing I will agree with you is the mechanic part, because that's been my biggest beef with Michael Penix. We saw it in University of Washington. The inconsistency throwing the football, the erratic throws, the footwork. Yes, this injury ultimately just puts him back on the 8 ball in that regard because he's not able to work on those mechanics going forward. So you put him out at least a full year, maybe 2 years before he can rebuild his stock. But by then, where are the Falcons' mentality at that point? Do they want to go into this conscientious mode that they're going to put a Band-Aid on the quarterback position, kind of how they did in 23, with Taylor Heineke and Marcus Mariota and Desmond Ritter? Do they want to actually go back to that, or do they do a small reset, bring in a vet that can hopefully get us going in the right direction and in enough time to where Penix can take reins again, kind of how the plan was supposed to be right now, where Kirk took the reins and then Penix would come in when he was ready. So it's a lot, right? But this moving forward does challenge the Falcons brass and how they move forward. It's tough because it's happening to the Falcons. God damn it, man. It feels like when it rains, it pours on this team, man. It's like we can't ever get right. But I wouldn't give up on Penix. I'm still on the Penix bandwagon. I think that he's shown enough flashes and brilliance in the short amount, short sample size that we've gotten. I think the bigger question is, will the new regime, if there is one, be tied to Michael Penix, and do they see what a lot of people have seen throughout the NFL?
Yeah, and I agree with what you were saying about like Willis and Gahey and all of them. But again, that for me, which is true, and I will again say what you and Uncle Steve are saying is absolutely true. But again, this is the very big sticking point for me. Those were running backs. Mm-hmm. Basically, you just had to give them the ball and tell them go to 22 dive, whatever the run is, and they just hit it. Quarterback has to do a lot more. So your development is very paramount, especially in your younger age. So let's say he's out 2 years, like you were saying. He'll be damn near 30. You know what I mean? And we still don't know what we have at quarterback. You know what I mean? So that's why I say they again. And I'm like you. I think. I think the kid, has talent. I think he will be. Hopefully, he'll be great. But his injuries have always been an issue for me. And with this, it's the stopping of his progression to me is a huge problem.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, either way, I think, this forces our team to, just ask these questions. Can we, survive without Penix 100%, the offensive line with Kirk? More importantly, can the coaches adjust, because they've been making all the plays, everything based on how Penix, works. And well, we have to depend on our defense, since we're not gonna have our starting quarterback anymore. Which, I mean, that brings us to our next topic. Our defense. Is this a top tier defense? I want to say, in my heart, we still have a top tier defense, but in my eyes, is like, be fucking for real. We don't have we don't have a top tier defense, but those are just my thoughts. What are your thoughts, Coach?
I mean, you've heard my thoughts. Many people in YouTube land, y'all heard my thoughts many a time. My famous saying is, you never accept in a win what you wouldn't in a loss. The Falcons have been giving up the booty all year on defense. They seriously have. They've been giving it up. Crazy. Teams ain't even taking them out on a date. They just giving it up. You know what I mean? But people fell in love with the fact that they wasn't giving up yards, even though they were giving up massive plays, and they were scoring. So I think this week, as Berto said, it was the worst showing for our defense all year. But I think it was very telegraphed. Anyone who had been watching games should have known that this game was coming. Um, Hughes' ass, Bertrand is ass, uh, uh, Brooks' ass, Troy is garbage. Like, outside of the new guys, your two that you got last year, the ones on the line, we're very poor in the back. Bates has been, I mean, a no show all year. I think he's had one good game. So
Don't
this
do my man
team is
Bates.
no, don't get me wrong. I like Bates, but I think Bates is gone. I think Bates, you can't justify keeping him this year, from his play this year.
Mm.
I mean, he did great last year, but everyone knows the Falcons. I mean, the NFL is "What have you done for me lately?" league,
Mhm.
and you can't be stuck. You can't be a fan of players. You got to be fans of the team. And this year, he just hasn't cut it. Um,
Mhm.
Rook, I like Rook Aurora, but out of 124 interior defensive men, he's ranked, I think it was 120 or 119. That's pretty bad. He has to step up. He's still on the rookie contract, so he still has time. But overall, it, it was just a poor showing, but it really shined a light on the defense. We got to get more depth. We got to get healthy and get our main guys back. But outside of our main guys, as we see, because the moment Diablo went out, the wheels just fell completely off. So we got to get healthy. Got to get depth to back up our stars. Because if they're out, I mean, it's a long day. It's a long day. But just the way that I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a player picked on the way they did Brooks. Like, that was just horrendous.
Bad, man.
Uh,
Hmm.
then you put Caden Ellis on the number one receiver for the Panthers, and then wonder why he gets torched. Like, I mean, it just was. It was a horrible, horrible coached game all game. Um, but I said this earlier. I said this defense needed to look like this. This defense needed to get kicked in their teeth. This defense was going to get kicked in their teeth. I think all of this is necessary for your young guys to get better, because either they're going to step up moving forward or they're going to crumble. I want to see a team. I want to see how they handle adversity, and I really do have faith in my Atlanta Falcons defense, that they will be a problem to 2 and 3 years from now. Right now, they're just growing, so you're going to have these pains, and then we're hurt. But they definitely got to get the trash out of here.
Yeah.
Hughes, Alfred, Brooks, uh, they got to go. Yeah, y'all gotta. I expect to see them on side of the road selling flowers or being door to door vacuum cleaner salesmen. Like, y'all got to get out of here. Uh,
That's crazy.
yeah. So, again, terrible showing, but I have all the faith in them. But no, in my opinion, we never were number one defense. So,
I mean, hey, look, man. I got to defend that a little bit because the stats are what they were, right? And I say were because
but just
obviously
yards, just
it,
yards.
just yards. But let's. So overall on defense, we were ranked number one at one point, and I got to stress that at one point. Sure, when Divine Diablo went out, this defense did go down. But I have to step up for my guy Jesse Bates because a lot of people been jumping on Jesse Bates this year. So Jesse Bates, obviously, we've known him to always make plays, and this year he hasn't been making the plays that we're all accustomed to as Falcon fans. But that's because he's being asked to do something a little bit different, and that's cover more. And if you've noticed, the Falcons do not have problems covering tight ends, and that's because in Ulbricht's scheme, you ask the free safety to drop down in coverage and man whatever whatever tight end is on the opposing side. So he's been in the box as well. Now, if we all remember, when Bates first came to the Falcons, he had 140 plus tackles. He was the surest thing in tackling that this Falcons team has. So we're kind of we reverted back to that, and that's large in part because of the play of Xavier Watts, who's been patrolling the top end of the defense. Lately, it's been a platoon on what they've been able to do defensively. Hence the reason why Jesse has back-to-back weeks with interceptions, because we're asking him to go back into that roaming that he used to do, and early on in his career with the Falcons, that made him so successful at taking the ball away, and just it's enabled him to react more than just be stagnant in the box and just wait and react to make the tackle. So Bates, I think he's still putting up elite safety play. It's just he's doing it in a different style, and in a style that we as Falcon fans don't like, because he's not, taking the pick six to the house or making the bone
Right.
jarring hit or punching the ball out and forcing fumbles. It's just he's stuck on an island doing something else. But that's credit to what Xavier Watts has been able to do as a rookie. Now, as far as the entire defense is concerned, look, man, our depth definitely did get tested, and it has been tested from number 40. I refuse to say his name, but we all know who number 40 is as a linebacker. And Natron Brooks, and D Alfred, and all of these guys have been revolving doors on this defense as of late, because our top guys are out. Yeah, I know you mentioned Mike Hughes being cheeks and whatnot, and yeah, sure, I agree to that to a certain extent, but he has been serviceable at best for the Falcons, but there is an upgrade needed at that. I think the Falcons do have that in-house with Kobe Bryant. I know he only played like 6 snaps last week, but damn it, those 6 snaps showed a lot of enthusiasm and
It
energy.
did.
You know what I'm saying? That we're accustomed to seeing opposite side AJ Terrell. So hopefully, that's a small light at the end of the tunnel as far as our cornerback group is concerned. And maybe we don't need to go into free agency or the draft and spend a premium pick or top money on a corner to be brought in. Maybe we can shore up the depth pieces behind both of these guys. But overall, man, I still believe in this defense to a certain degree. We got to wait and see what Diablo brings back. He is going to play this week versus the New
Mm.
Orleans Saints, so it'll be telling how important, even though we know he was important, but let's see how this defense reacts when he's plugged back into the middle, and we allow to see, we all can see what Caden does best, which is rush the passer. You brought up a terrific point with, him being out on the island, so to say, and having to cover the Carolina Panthers best receiver, Ted McMillan, in that go-ahead touchdown. Brother, that was scheme, right? And that was just a good draw up by Dave Canales in the Carolina
Yeah.
Panthers, exposing that matchup there. But otherwise, I think the defense has done solid. It's we were seeing numbers early on that we haven't seen, and man, God knows how long. I mean, you could date back to 2023. That was the last, quote unquote respectable defense that we had under Ryan Nielsen. But right now, man, it's just the numbers that we've been seeing has been, wow, man, these are some great numbers. But I'm gonna stick on this, man. I don't think we're top tier. I think we're a little bit lower than that, but I think this Falcons defense is still respected around the league because we do get after it, and we get after it often.
Yeah, yeah. And just real quick, because I know you don't have much longer with us. So I will say this: I everything you said about Bates is great, and is actually facts. But this is again why I say it might be time to move on from him, because he's going to command 20 million next year. I believe it's 20 million, and you have someone just as serviceable with Watts.
Mhm.
So is that is it time now to save that 20 million, especially now that you're going to be without your quote unquote franchise quarterback, and go ahead and bump up Watts, or go ahead and pay that 20 million. So that is a definitely something that they're going to have to think about and talk about.
Yeah, yeah. There's even rumors about possibly trading Jesse Bates at the
Yeah.
end of the year. I've seen it all. I find it hard to get rid of a pillar like that on the defense. I mean, for me, he's been the heart and soul of the Falcons defense, even in years when Grady Jarrett was around, right? But Grady Jarrett was already, weaning off to the tail end of his career, and Bates was still playing at an elite level post, Super Bowl season with the Cincinnati Bengals, and then he, continued on with the Falcons. I still think he's playing elite style football. It's just in a different matter. But like to what you say, it is a business, so it might make business sense to trade a guy like Jesse, especially on a year that we're minus a first round pick. So any picks that are considered premium, the Falcons should definitely be interested in acquiring those, because the talent still is needed on this Falcons football team.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I feel like there's still time to bounce back. But top tier, I don't think that we are top tier, especially the past few games. It could be the injuries or whatever, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how we bounce back. But with everything in perspective, what does this game mean going forward? Can we get to 500 still?
That's tough. That's tough. It's a great question, but it's tough. And obviously, our next two games against the Saints and the Jets, they might be gimmies. You know what I'm saying? The Falcons could potentially come out as winners in this. I just don't trust Kirk Cousins, and I don't trust the coaching staff to get us going in the right direction. Unfortunately, Kurt definitely is not the same quarterback he was, last year. We in the start that he had against Miami, he looked washed. He came in for this one versus the Panthers. He still looked washed. So I don't see any other improvement from Kurt going forward. Needless to say, I don't see that going. Anything better coming from this coaching staff. So can we hit 500? I don't think we can, unfortunately, man. We still got some tough games on the schedule. We still got games against the Seahawks, the Cardinals, the Rams, the Buccaneers that we haven't. We still have one more game left. So it's still some tough.
And even
games.
the Aints.
Yeah. Even the Aints, man. We all know NFC South rivalry matchups are they're tough games overall, right? These teams play themselves very competitive. They play against one another very competitively. So it can go either way. But to answer your point, Maxie, I don't think so. I don't think we could get to 500, man. I really don't. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but true.
Yeah. I tend to agree. Although I will say this. And it blew my mind when Kurt came in the game, and the very first thing he did was go under center. I was like, what?
I was pissed. Brother,
I
was pissed, man.
Then Berto, the second play, we see him fake to Bijan, roll out for a play action. What? Mm-hmm. Oh my God! I was like, man, you can't be serious. So I will say this. If that trend continues and we see him under center and we see some play action, I actually think we can start actually scoring. But will we be able to hit 500? I don't know, because I think at some point Kirk might revert to Kirk. If we can get Kirk old chains, that will be lovely. But the die has been kind of cast. So, I think I tend to agree with you and everyone else. I think it's going to be a tall order to get back to 500. But again, I do think if we're under center, I think Bijan will have better games. Real quick, I will say this though: if Bijan, I'm sure Bijan, and this is gonna sound crazy, but just to hear me, I'm sure Bijan is gonna want to get back to being Bijan. I'm sure the Falcons are not gonna want him to do that, because if Bijan makes a Pro Bowl this year, that is a minimum of $4 million that is going to be added on to whatever he's going to command come signing bonus time. And I know people are gonna be like, "It's $4 million. Who cares?" But shit, with the Michael Penix situation and everybody else going forward, they're gonna trying to cut pennies. So that's gonna be something to watch. Are they gonna allow Bijan to Bijan, or are they gonna kind of shut him down uh,
Mhm.
for business reasons.
Yeah, to that right there, I would say this: I don't think you cannot reward a guy that's been everything to you, on offense, right? So
Right.
they can't be that selfish to say, okay, it's a business decision we got to make by shutting down Bijan or negating him from these would-be bonuses. I think it would be an ass move by the organizations. No, you definitely have to take care of Bijan and allow Bijan to be Bijan. If and also too, it just sours the eye, right? And what do I mean by that is the fan base, right? If all of a sudden they see Bijan in a role that is a shell of himself, will Bijan will the Falcons even become an attraction next year because the fans are going to think, oh, we're going to see that Bijan that the Falcons held back, for the fans to watch and whatnot. I don't think you can go in and do anything to hinder Bijan in his image. You got to let him be what he is. I call him the
Yeah.
true unicorn versus Kyle Pitts. So
Right.
I feel
Right.
I feel like you got to let Bijan be Bijan, man,
Yeah,
and never
and
mind them
I
in the
tend to
system.
agree, but that is something to watch though, because
No, yeah, yeah,
that is definitely that 4 million. I mean, that is it is what it is. But yeah.
I think we can get, we can hit 500 if, the universe, the
damn.
coaching staff, the defense, the offense, and Jesus himself are
I'm
in
not mad
alignment.
at you. I'm not mad at you. You were very optimistic. I like that. Okay.
Yeah,
uh,
Jesus himself
Jesus
need to be out
himself,
there in the
he
tight
needs to
end position.
be, yeah, guiding everyone through it.
Yeah,
Wow.
for sure, for
But
sure.
emphasis on the coaching staff. They need to get it together. But right now, they're definitely in the hot seat.
Mhm.
Um,
Ooh.
I made this comparison. It's kind of like a medium high Chick-fil-A waffle fry that has just came out and sat for 6 minutes. It's still edible, but it's not the greatest. And Morris is not the main problem, but he's definitely part of the dish.
Mhm.
He's definitely on the hot seat there. What are your thoughts?
Oh man.
I'm gonna go first. Keep it real short and sweet because we gotta let the great Berto go. And thank you again, brother, for being with us tonight.
No
Um,
problem, man.
absolutely, he's on the hot seat. I think.
Mhm.
I think you have everything you need to fire him. I just, again, I'm gonna say this. I've said it on a few shows, and I will stick by it. I just think that uh, Arthur Blank is put between a rock and a hard place because although most of us fans know Raheem needs to be fired, all you have to do is get on Twitter and or social media and the whole DEI hire and this and that and everything that has to do with non-football is coming into it, and one would be a fool to think that Arthur as a business owner don't see that and understand the potential for not unrest, but for a lot of noise to be made um, by firing Raheem within 2 years, and everyone else has at least gotten three. So I think that he'll at least get a year, unless the wheels just completely fall off. But I mean, I just think he has a year. But everybody else is gone. Well,
Mhm.
I mean, Zach is gone anyway. There's no way in the world Zach could be back next year. Just none.
Yeah.
Albrick, I think, will be back. But yeah, Raheem and Terry, their seats are hot, very hot.
Yeah.
They probably
Yeah.
can't sit down. They're so hot.
Yeah, I agree. I think he should have been. I think he should. I personally is something that Arthur doesn't do, or this Falcon organization does, is fire coaches within season. The only one that we've seen today is Dan Quinn, right? But
Yeah.
this one we should have made an exception for losing to Carolina in the fashion that we did, all but sealed, or nailed the coffin. That is Raheem Morris. I thought he was supposed to. I thought he should have got fired after that game, straight up. If he goes into Sunday and he loses, you should be fired. You should be left in New Orleans, and that's my opinion because really, there's no coming back from losing to a rival in whatever fashion we do on Sunday if we do lose first and foremost. But no, I think Raheem. I don't see him back. I really don't see him back next year, man. You've sold us a lot of promise and have failed to deliver us on that promise.
On
You
anything.
on anything.
on anything.
You tried to sell us with the Jimmy Lake situation last year, and historically, that was one of the worst defenses in Falcon history. Zach looked competent last year, and we all thought, he was going to be the next guy, right? And then he's a shell of himself. He's taken maybe not one, but two, maybe three steps back as a coach himself. I mean, it's night and day what we see with Penix and what we see with Kirk Cousins. Why is it two different infused styles of offense when your scheme should work to each one of these quarterbacks' strengths? So I don't know. I don't think that himself, Zach, will be back neither next year. I think he'll take the job in Oklahoma and be at peace in the college ranks at his alma mater. But yeah, I think Morris is as good as done, and I think this organization, if we continue on this track of losing games, is in for a rude awakening, and we have to burn it down. Unfortunately, from the
Yeah,
top down, we have to gut
absolutely.
everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And now, make no mistake, I think Raheem needs to be fired, should be fired, has to be fired. I'm not sure if I mean, just the optics of it alone is just horrible, and I don't know if they want to go that route.
They
I mean,
can't,
because
man.
that will matter. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
that. Whew.
I look at it this
Glad I'm
way
not
too.
him.
Yeah, I look at it this way too, real quick. It's like for every loss that amounts on this Falcons record, we got to look on the other side of the fence because you brought in Mike McDonald. Look what he's doing with the Seahawks. You brought in Mike
Yep.
Vrabel. Look what he's doing with New England. Ben Johnson, and look what he's
Yes.
doing with the Bears. Obviously, you
Harbaugh. Even though
Harbaugh.
he was not gonna come here, but yeah,
Right, even though, but still, those guys made their way through the Flowery Branch, and you elected to go with Raheem Morris. You went back to the X, and that's a
yeah,
no-no. You don't do
yeah.
that.
No,
You
no.
don't do that, man.
Once you kick her to the curb, you move on.
That's it, man. And we're learning from a failed experience, right? And yeah, it's just a Falcon thing, man. It sucks so bad,
Yeah.
man. It
Yeah,
really
yeah.
does.
Yeah.
So I know you got to go, Berto. Do you have
Yeah.
enough time for our last for the predictions for next week, or you got to go?
Yeah, it's 8:55. I gotta
Yeah.
go into the studio over
Yep.
there.
Okay.
Um,
Uh, Let everybody know where they can catch you, brother.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, thank you so much, man. Appreciate collaborating with y'all too. I watch the show as often as I can, and I really respect and admire what you guys got going on here. Shout
Thank you.
out, shout out to
Yeah.
Kaylee, man. Hopefully, things can cool, and everything could be back to normal because you guys as a trio were amazing. I'll be looking forward to see who you guys add on as a third host and continue watching your show and coming on as a guest, and hopefully we'll get you onto our platform so that way y'all can come through and give your thoughts. You can find me under 95 North Falcons Talk Show on YouTube. That's the platform. You can find me on Bleacher Report as well. I am the Falcons content creator on that platform. And if you're not tired of seeing this ugly face, man, you can catch me on the NFC South Roundtable every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. live. Myself and a bunch of other no names battle it out on a week to week basis. But it's a Falcons jump fest. We all know how it is. You know how it is, bro.
Yeah.
But you
All
Now,
right.
guys, man,
please, everybody that can hear my voice, if you don't, follow him on all platforms, but make sure to show up in that NFC South roundtable because my man Berto be getting jumped, and I hate it, and we need more
it's fun,
Falcons
man.
fans in there, man. Thank you
Absolutely,
again, brother.
absolutely. Thank you, thank you
That
again,
sounds
everybody.
fun.
Appreciate you. All right,
No
everybody, have a
problem.
blessed night.
All
Take care,
right.
You
everybody.
Thanks
too,
for
brother. You too.
coming.
Thank you. Alrighty.
All right. So the
All
last one.
right. So yeah, anyway, next week we'll be facing the Aints. Any quick predictions before we leave, coach?
It's the trash bowl. Two trash teams playing garbage game. I have no idea what's going to happen. The Falcons going Falcon in some shape, form, or fashion. Um, Last year, Kirk had a great game against them, then got hurt. So who knows, man? This is the most infuriating team, one of the most infuriating teams ever because they're so inconsistent. One week they could look
Yeah.
great and still lose, and one week they can just be absolutely cheeks and get stomped out of the field. So who knows?
Yeah.
I always say I don't like. Of course, I want my Falcons to win 17 out of 17 games. But if we're 2-15, those two damn wins better be against the Aints. Like,
Right.
I don't care what else happens in the year.
Yes.
We better win this damn game. Like, bro, y'all better win this damn game. Like,
Yeah.
this is the trash bowl. At least we can say we beat the Aints twice in a year. So that's what
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to. So
Yeah,
let's go
wasn't it last
Falcons.
season that they went like we went to New Orleans or something like that and they were like having a whole parade and then we lost the game.
Yeah, and we lost. Yeah, yeah,
Hopefully we wouldn't bring
yeah.
that juju back again to
Yeah.
this
No,
game.
let's not do that again. Just go down there and whoop their ass and come home. Like
Right,
we don't need to
right.
have the parade down whatever street that is. Like no, just
All
go whoop
right.
their ass and come back home
Yeah.
for
So
sure.
if the Falcons lose, we're the last in the NFC, right?
Uh, I don't know how many. I don't know how many wins the Aints have, but
They're
probably
they're
more than
they're 2-8, I think.
2-8, and we're
Hmm.
3-7. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, we'll be
So we'll be
last.
last.
Yep, yep,
Oh my! They better get
yep,
this.
yep.
Falcons, you better get
Yeah,
this.
yeah. Like again, if no other game matters, beating the Aints better be on like the top of your list.
Yeah.
Like, like Berto said, now that I think about it, you lose to the Aints, you might as well stay in New Orleans because
Right.
don't come back to Atlanta. No,
Yeah.
no.
I
Keep
mean, I
that
don't think they're
ass.
gonna fire Morris, but I
I don't
mean,
think so. Not,
Atlanta
not,
lives
not
for the
during the year.
drama, so it wouldn't shock me if they do.
Right.
Probably wouldn't be a bad thing.
No.
Uh,
You lose to the Aints. No, you gotta go. You gotta go. Mm-mm.
yeah. Yeah.
Like you got blown out by Carolina, blown out by the Dolphins. I mean, the last Carolina game was competitive. It went down to overtime. But I don't care if you lose by 1 point. A loss to the Aints is unacceptable. It is just
Yeah.
unacceptable. Unacceptable.
Hopefully
Mm-mm.
we get this. Hopefully we get this win. We definitely need it. But all right,
For
y'all.
sure.
That's today's episode. Another week, another collapse. The pain is real. The jokes write themselves.
They sure do.
Uh, the Falcons remain consistent at being inconsistent. But make sure that everybody, drop your thoughts, frustrations, your conspiracies, your coping mechanisms or strategies in the comments. Make sure you hit that follow or subscribe button. Share the live, to your fellow fans. And we will be back here next Wednesday, like every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be back hopefully with fewer tears.
For sure, it better be. So we'll
Right.
catch y'all at the same bird time at the same bird channel.
All right. Well, everybody have a great night and rise up.